After so long, we finally have a release date for Warhammer The Old World. And it comes quite funny. For example, we had the new models shown for Britannia. Or Bretonnia, yes, Bretonnia, not Britannia. They're different settings. We have new models for Bretonnia, and they look pretty good. They mentioned that there will be models you can buy from the Games Workshop store. Of course, I hope those will be decently priced because, decently priced in Games Workshop. That goes hand in hand like salt and snails, for example. But we also know when it's gonna release. Now, technically, we don't have a proper date, but we do know that, in their own words, Warhammer The Old World will be the first release of 2024. And it's quite funny because there's not much left until there. So that means the next time there's going to be a big release next year, it's going to be Warhammer The Old World. Finally. Now, I've complained about not having a release date at all, that it's been announced some time ago and we haven't gotten any news regarding it. So it's good that now we have a proper estimate on when it will happen. Now, what we have to worry about is the price, because the models are good, they're nice, they have knights on foot, which, here's a funny thing I'm going to talk about. In Maurice Duron's The Accursed Kings, the inspiration for, the Game of Thrones series, there is a passage during the war between France and England, the first, proper battle on land that they have, and there, the French have a Scottish prince that convinces the King of France to have his knights come down from their horses and attack the British on foot. Now, because that's how they always won, that's how the Highlanders always win. Yeah, laddie, with our big sword, freedom. What's really funny is that it doesn't pan out as, well, if you know history, it doesn't work out. The English win that first battle, that's kind of decisive. And so it happens in Maurice Duron's own Accursed Kings. What's funny is because of the terrain, the knights got stuck and then just got picked off by longbowmen. I like this thing because, you see, many people, when they think of normal knights, they might have this idea of English knights. French knights to them seem to be more chivalrous, more the jousting type of knights. But these types of knights on foot and on horse were a thing for France back then. Now, I wouldn't complain if they bring more medieval and more medieval aspects to Bretonnia to make it, pop out. Like, maybe you get some English stuff, maybe you get something else, and it works out. What I want to go is that it's fitting that the French faction in this game has knights on foot, which will totally be unbothered by terrain difficulties, but whatever. It's funny, and I like that. It's pretty cool. Now, going back again to what I was talking about, the release date. The release date is very important. So, the fact that it's so close is really good. It's finally we're getting something proper. As I said once, the long waiting time makes the hype for the setting go down and down, because at some point people are just tired of waiting, especially after so long. But now with this, Games Workshop can start those engines again, those highly priced engines again, and get some more money out of us. Because let's recapitulate a little. Let's go back over what we know. It's gonna be Bretonnia and Tomb Kings first. Genius way to start it off. Then we're gonna have not starter boxes like you usually have in Age of Sigmar or 40k, but we will have individual boxes, a little bit more akin to the Age of Darkness, if I remember correctly. And that's a good start. That's a perfect start to get into Warhammer The Old World. Quite frankly, I don't think there's a better start than that. And the fact that it just comes next year, and there's so little time. Yes, that's so little time. We are in the October right now, and we're close to next year. It's pretty interesting. Now, overall, we don't need to have a proper date. We know it's gonna be the first thing next year, and because of that, I think it might be something in January or February. At the most, I presume March. And that's kind of my estimate right here on how they work. So I'm expecting the release for the old world to happen in that time. Now, it might be wrong, it might happen a little bit earlier in January, it might happen later in April or something like that. But this is my estimation of when I expect them to drop it. I might be wrong. I might be wrong. Never doubt that. You have to take everything with pinches of salt here, especially once we're making presumptions like we are right now. We're not really sure of what's going to happen in the future, so we're left speculating. But that's a good thing. That's a good thing. At least we know when it's going to happen. It's going to be next year. The first thing next year is this. And quite frankly, that's perfect. That's genius. As I said, the hype kind of dies down the more people wait, so it's perfect that we have this information. Now, they might change it and not be the first thing released next year, and it might just be something else. Remember, like in wrestling, plans are, or the card is open to change. So they might decide to not do it at the point and then decide to postpone it. I'm not expecting them to do it earlier. Unfortunately, I know I said they might do it early January, but again, that's still in the estimate of next year. It's also probable it's not going to be the first thing. You also have to consider that. And again, that they might postpone it and move it towards the middle of 2024 or at the end of it. Which then again would make sense to buy those Christmas sales, right? By the way, about Christmas sales, they could have done it this year. Now that I think about it. Whatever. I don't work for Games Workshop. I have no idea where they're doing stuff. Nevertheless, it's pretty interesting. It's going places. Like, there is a chance it might be these 3 months, these 3 first months of 2024, or it might be further down the road. If plans change and if the guy at the Open Warhammer Fest misspoke when he said that's gonna be the first thing in 2024. That's also a possibility. That just might have been a slip of the tongue. Nevertheless, remember this. We finally have something concrete for Warhammer the Old World. Now we just need more plastic stuff, and we also need good old, normal, decent pricing. Remember why Bretonnian didn't sell well back in the day? You might have a clue. It's probably because the main differential unit for Bretonnian, the Grill Knights, were like $99 for 5 of them. Yeah, you see, you need better pricing. You need prices that make sense. But then again, it's Games Workshop, a company that will always make profit and always spike prices because, well, its main customers are whales. It is what it is. Nevertheless, you can help me with the algorithm by follow, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.